This is the Nike Air Zoom Alphafly Next Percent. For the past few months, these shoes, along with its predecessor, the Vaporfly, have been the subject of endless controversy and speculation. With its revolutionary new carbon fiber inserts, a super thick sole, and novel propulsion air pods, this one shoe has made a worldwide impact in a very dramatic way. Back in October of 2019, Eliud Kipchoge became the first person to break the 2-hour barrier in the marathon. This time was a towering performance in the athletics world, as Kipchoge averaged under 4 minutes and 34 seconds per mile for 26 full miles. Running through the streets of Vienna, Austria, Kipchoge's time was simply unparalleled. And guess what shoes he had for this performance? You guessed it, the Nike Alphafly. At the time, these shoes carried a full 3 carbon fiber inserts, creating a very powerful and effective propulsion system that greatly enhanced his running efficiency. This was the first time anyone had ever seen this breakthrough design, and Nike clearly chose the perfect athlete on the perfect day for this reveal. After Kipchoge broke the 2-hour barrier, the shoe debate exploded. For the previous 2 years, the debate surrounded only the Nike Vaporflies, which were of course the dominant standard for marathon racing around the world. But then, the Nike Alphafly took over. From the Wall Street Journal to the Business Insider, everyone was talking about this one shoe. Article after article continued to be released from countless publications, either defending the shoe or objecting with its design. The key questions at the heart of this discussion were, are these shoes cheating? Is this fair? Will these shoes be allowed in the Olympic Games? Compared to other shoes, the Alphafly used a brand new system that had never been used before, but people wanted answers to whether or not this one shoe would ultimately be allowed in official racing competition. Since Kipchoge's performance, the World Athletics Federation created a new ruling on shoe design. On January 31st, they provided new regulations saying that any shoe must contain no more than 1 rigid plate, and it must have a sole with a maximum thickness of no more than 40 millimeters. Sadly, this meant that Kipchoge's Alphaflys were now officially banned because of their 3 carbon fiber plates. However, on February 3rd, Nike unveiled a brand new line of shoes that all fall within the World Athletics regulations. And at the forefront of all of these new releases was the new Alphafly Next Percent, except this time, Nike made a few crucial changes. In response to the new regulations, Nike took out 2 carbon fiber plates and left in just 1. Also, in contrast to what many people have speculated, these shoes do in fact fall within the new 40mm sole thickness rule, as this shoe measures at just 39.5. Also, shout out to my boy Jeffrey Camoro here, who is looking super fresh in these new kicks. All other design characteristics, including the AirPods, the cushioning, the foam design, and the breathable bottom, all fall within the World Athletics' new regulations. In addition to these new racing shoes, Nike also unveiled a new line of trainers, including the Tempo Next Percent and the Tempo Next Percent Fly Ease. For these shoes, instead of a carbon fiber plate, they'll use a new composite foam, which is softer for added comfort over higher mileage, but still serves to provide stability and transition through a runner's full stride. We've already seen Nike completely dominate the running market over the last few years with the Vaporfly. From local runners to international superstars, these shoes were everywhere. With their bright neon color and their unique design, it was nearly impossible to see a road race without seeing these shoes light up the pavement. Moving forward, it's very possible that this could once again happen, except this time, these new green and black shoes could be the centerpiece of marathons throughout the world. According to the Nike website, these shoes will be available to the public during the summer of 2020. However, there is one specific ruling by the World Athletics Federation that complicates this issue. According to the new guidelines, any shoe that is first introduced after April 30th of 2020 may not be used in competition unless and until it has been available for purchase by any athlete on the open retail market for at least 4 months prior to that competition. Any shoe that does not meet this requirement is deemed a prototype and may not be used in competition. In short, if these shoes are not available for purchase by April 30th, they will not be available for the Olympic Games. However, given that Nike has already showcased the actual product to the public, my guess is that these shoes will definitely be used for the Olympic Games this summer. Another complication with this April 30th deadline involves athletes who will not be wearing this new Nike product. Of course, there are hundreds of athletes who are sponsored by a company other than Nike, so it will be very interesting to see how other companies will develop their products over the next few months. At the moment, there is virtually no competition to compete with these new Nike shoes, and if other companies plan on developing a new shoe for the Olympics this year, it'll have to be available for purchase before April 30th. Clearly, Nike is in the driver's seat with these new regulations, and perhaps we'll see another shoe make its way to the market. However, the likelihood that Nike will once again be the dominant driver at the Summer Olympics this year is very high. These new Alphafly shoes are certainly compelling, but what about these new tempo trainers? And what about these new awesome track spikes called the Viperfly? What exactly makes these shoes so special? Ultimately, the goal of these trainers is to minimize injury with Nike React foam at the heel, while still providing athletes with the ability to train with a faster and more reliable training shoe. Again, these shoes have no carbon fiber plate, but they do carry a similar design and look as the new Alphafly. As for the new spikes, they are designed specifically for the 100 meters. Nike says that these new spikes are produced by a new process called custom fiber placement, which allows for varying flexibility within the plate and an unmistakable 4-foot Nike Air Zoom unit. It follows deep study of the strategy and performance of the race, and focuses attention on what athletes need most in the final 20 meters of the sprint. Just like the Alphafly, this design is focused on responsiveness and energy return, but instead of the double-thick AirPod, this design uses a much thinner cushioning along with a slightly detached under area, which definitely does resemble that of an actual Viper. You really gotta give it to Nike on this one. They absolutely nailed the name of this shoe. Awesome names aside, the question is, will this shoe actually enhance a sprinter's needs in the 100-meter dash? And if so, what will the future of sprinting look like? Lastly, I wanted to touch on the new regulations regarding these new shoes. Ultimately, I think it's great that there is now a standard that can be applied to all running companies throughout the world. However, I do wish that other companies had more time to create a new shoe, as April 30th is quite close. In my personal opinion, I do believe these new regulations are fair, at least for now. There is certainly room for new innovation, and it will be very exciting to see new ideas surface over the coming years. It's also great that novelty and technological advancement is being rewarded here instead of punished. Running seldom entices such high levels of publicity, especially when compared to football or even baseball. And most of this new publicity is because of these shoes. So I must admit, I think it's great that there are such high levels of momentum and awareness for this tremendous endurance sport. Now I want to pass this question off to you guys. What do you think of these new shoes, and what do you think of these new regulations? Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon.